Welcome back to my lovely IHP community and 5D collective, those who do spiritual, self-help, and mindfulness living and loving, and they enjoy to integrate practices. So you do personal development, mindset, mindsight, and mindfulness, which is why you come here for the self-empowered stories, and for when our membership content will be out, you get to have practices depending on the tier you will choose to subscribe to, if you want, obviously. And one-to-one mentorship is always available to anybody who is serious about being yourself with integrity and flaws. And some people say, well, why would anybody need you? Well, that's the part. They don't need me, but I'm a mentor who supports with objectives, and it's kind of like a workout, right? I don't do my workout without having been guided to having a good workout. That's why. So for example, with my scoliosis, I have a physical therapist who gave me a really nice, 10th series of exercises. I conducted a whole year or 2 years with them. And that's what good practitioners do. They allow you to know the work that's going to go behind it. And then as I got some other stuff going on, I did some research and I found a even more specialized scoliosis portfolio of exercises. And this physical therapist gave me my Schroff method portfolio. So now I have 2 sets of exercises. When I'm sloppy, I don't integrate them well enough, but when I'm good, I get to have about, 2 hours of them? So that's just one random example, which is why the people who do mindfulness seriously, they know the importance of having practitioners, also the ones who know about mindset and life coaching, and just in general, the value that goes behind having someone. So that's a random side note. As we get ready to roll out with membership content, I want to try and ensure anybody who's new understand the value of the membership when it's there. In the meantime, here we get to hear funny stories as I tease people and tease ourselves and just have a good time, because, 5D mystic here in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, I can say I'm so blessed I don't even know where to begin to count. And that's because slow and steady always wins the race. When you can see clearly now the rain has gone and there have never been obstacles in anybody's way. So the part about being non-reactive, I don't act as if I need to watch my words. I watch my words and then I talk my words, and if somebody says, yeah, I don't like the words you used, I don't like you, I have at this point in my lovely 44 years of age said, so sorry, I don't change though, so what do we want to do about it? Because I noticed your adaptive child pattern is here with your persona and your fancy suit people that you follow, and you're perpetuating shame, blame, fault, revenge, and well, Cusco, I don't do any of the shit, or squirrel, but we don't tell that to the pretenders, but basically you spot it. So I spot those who truly believe in themselves because they use their mind wisely, and when they use their mind wisely, they will be people who love to love and love to live and love to laugh and love to dance and love all of us who love to love and live. So they won't be discriminating about pronouns, about polyamory, monoamory. They won't be discriminating about different types of interests when people are talking about sex stuff or not sex stuff. Obviously, we all are inclined 100% to want healthy people, and that means healing from trauma, and that means taking the restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating path seriously, but knowing that it is a choice for people to go to good therapists, and that there's a bunch of people who are completely using ancient textbooks, religious ancient settings, and a lot more as a person with God and Jesus. I'm not welcomed by all because I'm a 5D mystic, meaning I'm a mystic who has Akashic record readings and conducts them, tarot card, oracle, guidance, and readings. I'm a Reiki master. So the people in cloaks who are living in the ancient times, they're to me not of blind faith, because blind faith is 1, God always wins. 2, never talked about not being able to learn material. 3, sciences proves that which spirituality had already gifted and given. It disproves the things that are untrue, like there being demons in the body of people. In fact, that matches what I have been taught about my brothers and sisters, which is we're all children of God. So I know that sciences, the mental health sciences is what I'm talking about, what and are healing people to get heaven in their body. And anybody who's talking against it is not a person who in my book stands for God. No, they stand for a time that was of yesterday, because their ears are not hearing clearly what 1, decentralization of the self is, 2, how the brain is healing from trauma charges. All on its own, it wants to get to its optimized version. 3, not believing science is ridiculous, because it's not about belief. They're explaining. They're able to show with quantitative data why the mindfulness living, the somatic sensory motor, why all of whatever else they're integrating, including yoga, EMDR, why it works to get that bilateral integration. So the ones who deny getting healed from trauma, yes, they're all perpetuating, and that's because they're armored in shut with the dark sides of neuroplasticity, shame, blame, fault, revenge. And they're copycats. They're all lost boys, lost girls who are all with the same inner critic, outer critic, and unpent or pent up shame, blame, fault, revenge, who don't go and walk into Patrick Teahan's door to get into self-love and then to love truly. So we, again, Robert Sapolsky, he wrote the book Determined to say there's no free will. There is free will. The free will is that we are making the noise of all of us can unconditionally love with flaws, imperfections, and integrity, our own self and others. And so here's where at IHP it's all healthy others who are taking healing trauma seriously. We're not going to bring our adaptive child pattern into the room, which also equals a maladaptive child pattern. No, we're going to bring mindfulness seriously, which means the true self. And so you get out of a 0-8 that you don't know of. And you get out of the 0-16-year-old. You uncharge those trauma charges, you heal. And for those who have a bigger stuff to work with, they do good therapy with people like Dr. Daniel Siegel, Dr. Daniel Fox, and then when they're ready, they integrate mindset and mindfulness. So serious mindfulness practitioners and Reiki practitioners, we don't underestimate good attachment trauma therapists. Actually, we have them on speed dial for when we need a consult. Hey, one of my mindfulness practitioners here, mentorees, whatever word, and we need you. They don't want, but I need you. So that's something serious, by the way. Mindfulness practitioners that I've met who are serious about what they do, they don't ignore any of this. And in fact, they know that magic works through us by us being able to know that nobody needs to be sacrificed. It's an ancient story that the taming of the wind is the taming of your own mind, and that you are able to see clearly when your ego and self are friends, not when your ego is dumbed down and blinded by shame, blame, fault, revenge, and the ones who, again, don't like differences and are reactive and are continuing to perpetuate the need to be reactive. Well, again, we leave it alone to those who don't use their mind wisely and they don't believe in their true self and they don't believe in humanity or into smart stuff. In fact, you know what they are? They're pretenders because they act as if they know how to watch their words. But you can act and truth will come forth, because as the Italian saying goes, lies, the knots come to the comb. And so when you have a ego self that is blinded because you have 0-1-year-old, attached, panicky, 3-7, shame, submissive, freeze of all ages, flight 11, 12, and fight 14, 15, 16 that you don't own, your adaptive child is going to come forth because you're going to be a tone. And in fact, it's going to be a tone and the words you choose. And I'm going to know, as our lovely Sadhguru points out, that your thoughts and emotions are not separate entities, and that the way you think is the way you feel. So whenever I hear anyone who has the dark sides of neuroplasticity and they've basically shut themselves into a broken defectiveness person, they're going to perpetuate not going to get good therapy, and they're going to perpetuate a lot of things, including nightmare stories and just, a lot of, whether you experience stress, anger, fear, or any other kind of negativity, a lot of negativity, there is only one basic cause: being ignorant of your inner nature. Yes, so they ignore that their inner nature could use some therapists, a lot of healing, and they don't want to. And in fact, here's where another Sadhguru quote, whatever you need will just happen if you keep your energies exuberant and focused, which is where those of us who are into being mindfully aware, spiritually aware, accountable, and regulating, we know how to flow. And the ones who are 3D, 4D frequency, they flow, but their distorted reality is what is going to come with them. Okay, so let me read you a little bit. Again, when we spot patterns, personas, and fancy suits who perpetuate shame, whether you're a mindfulness practitioner or professional or a content creator or person, however you use the words, with also spirituality for some of us. Again, Jesus taught me forgiveness, God humbleness, and how to just leave it alone, Maria. You know that I always win because that's how it works. I create, and the fallen angel is the free will choice to not be a fallen angel. And it's not about us being in the medieval times. No, the fallen angel, when you go and look at everything that people who have shame, blame, fault, and revenge, it's no demon. It's people who have trauma. And they have nightmare stories because their first 3 years of life is all implicit memory. And then the 7 months and beyond in the womb. So if they've built up any of that stuff, which is why a man getting on the screen and talking about this vicious Luciferian in such a happy way, he's so happy when he's talking about this shit, or getting on screen and letting women know how you won't get a text back because the second after he fucks you, he'll feel contempt and disgust towards you and shame. Wow, you really have joy in perpetuating. I don't even know what it is because I'm hearing your voice and I'm like, whoa, that's hilarious. I hope that no insecure woman comes across this. I know already the insecure men are all over this shit because they're insecure. Why else would they follow a man like that who speaks shit from his mouth like this? This is completely unnecessary. A 1 minute short that means nothing except for something horrendous out of his mouth. Oh, I forgot. They're all against, did I mention the good therapist? Yes, like the fancy woman in suit. You know what shit she speaks? She speaks this. Women, remember, if they fuck you, don't think wedding bells. And every time I think about that, I think of the insecure women that I have met, and I'm like, oh shit, that's why they laughed. Okay, Patrick Tian, where are you? They ignore the fact that they could choose therapy with you. What should I do? You can't do anything, Maria. Yeah, I noticed. Ego is pretty blind and dumb, and oh wait, I'm the stupid lady. So when I tell people about their 3-year-old, find it hard to believe, they all do this. This is called deflecting. It's adaptive child to a T. They in fact come, excuse me, you're confusing shit, lady. No, confusing spirituality sciences. Oh, no, I'm not. But then again, you're not intelligent, are you? So I'm going to leave it alone because I don't like to waste my time with those who don't know what the heck is going on. So when you meet, again, a pretender, you'll know because they'll give it away. And that's not in a funny way. So my heart, body, and mind are safe and secure, which is why I have a good time being Maria. I don't feel shame, guilt. When somebody says I don't like you for who you are, I can be sad about it. Of course I can. I can even be completely devastated about it. It's happened once, and it wasn't true that they didn't like me. No, it didn't happen once. I got disowned as a kid. It probably happened a bunch of times. I just don't know how to say. It's not laundry Zen master. I know how to say it. It's called that sadness is about connection, so it's about love, which is why it's not good or bad. It's an emotion that comes out of you. Also, non-reactivity is really fun, which is what makes me know that that fancy lady is not empowered, nor is the fancy man. And I won't be able to ever enjoy anything that I'm thinking about in my brain right now. Because, in order for you to enjoy people, you will have to spend a lot of time with them. And then as you get to know each other, you get to enjoy each other. So I'm a pacha, remember? That's what a mindfulness 5D, it's Christ consciousness for a reason. So we shake a hand and we mean it. And we don't have an illusion of what our authentic needs are. We know how to healthfully self-soothe, self-regulate, and that's why we can hear our tone and when someone points it out. Okay, so inner security means this, that you're able to identify the relationships that you're growing, and that's with the healthy self-worth people as well as the relationships that you're growing with the unhealthy self-worth who navigate 3D, 4D states of consciousness. So there are those who are going to still be beneath the neutrality belt. They're like Diego's family. So you leave it alone. We know how to be people who do not have this sensitive ego. In fact, we learn how to pause when our emotions come up. So whenever a mindfully aware, accountable, regulating person is charged, they're going to be like, hey, restorative embodiment, I'm self-aware, accountable, and regulating. What's going on here? Hey, ego, what's up? Well, you know what? That word. Oh, what? Why? Well, and so you have the story, like a functional adult. You have the emotion. You have what happened, but you know it's not personal. So you're like, okay, got it. So even if you're interacting with another person, as they're using whatever words, you're like, okay. So you don't have this thing of being reactive because you're not there to teach them how to be pachas. They can go to therapy to get out of their adaptive child patterns. Some people are martyrs superiors. That's why they like to be in codependent. You see, martyrs superiors and blamers, they get together. Let's get together, and they basically shame each other around, and they do all Diego's family shit, and we don't need to participate. In fact, we don't. We present to them the healthy boundaries we have. If they respect, accept, it's good. If they say, no, how dare you? Okay. So, we leave it alone if they don't want to be in our vicinity. The lack of flow state that comes from being in modulated embodiment with the survival state is the 3D, 4D state of consciousness, unhealthy self-worth, others, and mystics' choice. They completely do not have any interest to go and head on over to a Patrick Tiahan. So again, for us instead, the 5D State of Consciousness Collective, those who will join us with our membership content, with again the masterclass, the future spiritual retreats. I will have some stuff I need to organize, but also if you want one-to-one mentorship, again, it's going to be those who are serious. So I plan on setting up some landing page at some point, but you can also email me and ask. And that's for those, again, who are welcoming finally a bliss state, okay, and you're wanting to continue to do this. So you understand that the bonus is being able to work through something and get expanded in a way that adds value to your thought and your emotional process and your day-to-day when you're dealing with unknowns, uncertainties, unexpecteds in life. And that's the very straightforward. While being yourself is really fun for me, but I know some people have a bit more of a challenging time with it. The 5D Collective, again, we have no shame or trust breaks. We don't project anything. Nothing's buried inside. We're not ignoring any of charges. We'll use a good therapist to work through that and not, project any insecurity on another person. Also, we love to have a number of different types of people around us. So we are enjoying to live and love with a self-empowered, enlightening, open-minded, emotionally mature, aware, accountable, and self-regulating people. We also are enjoying those who know equanimity and non-reactivity and that are able to recalibrate like we do when we're engaging. But also, if we don't have those people, we get to be the ones who recalibrate as our reactivity shows up in the emotional plane, okay? Because you're mindfully aware, accountable, and regulating. So you're like, hey, what's up? As you're interacting. And usually somebody can spot it. Hey, why are you so tense? What's going on? So as you hear them out and you take a check and you're like, okay, I can work with that. Because again, your child parts are not charged. So we're an inner child adult. So you're integrated. You're using your prefrontal, which is why focusing attention is easy, and then putting into practice awareness is easy, and then you have the kind intention or neutral intention, and you just use your open heart as you're engaging with curiosity, openness, acceptance, and love, because you're flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable. These are Dr. Daniel Siegel's acronyms for an integrated brain. The restorative embodiment is why you're in a ventral vagal state as you're in your optimized social engagement, because the person in front of you, just because they're different and talking in their they're another person. You're differentiated, they're differentiated, and you're linking. And so you're not saying their emotions and their dysregulated nervous systems and mannerisms, their biological rudeness, which is what an adaptive child pattern will be in. Maladaptive, adaptive, don't matter. When you got Cusco in a room, you got a person who's got shit going on. So you're not reactive. In fact, you're a blank slate in that moment. So this is also something that you'll become aware of. I'm attachment, again, trauma informed, and I learned from it was a in-depth on trauma with NICABM. I got 2 or 3 courses on trauma alone. Then I got dissociative disorder. Then I got a number of other amazing courses with them. And so this one, though, is telling how a person who has no trauma charges like myself, I'm going to be looking at you, and my eyes are looking at you from an open heart. I have full access to Maria because I don't get reactive in the absence of Maria being aware. And if I am, I'm going to notice how to recalibrate immediately, especially if you point it out. But even if you don't point it out, I have had so many panic attacks that I'm like a champ when it comes to how my embodied brain is working. And I have to thank my panic attacks for that one. Definitely being able to tap into intelligence is a lot of fun. And my twin flames, we can thank them for that one too. But what I was trying to point out is when people are reactive and they're not self-aware, accountable, or regulating, they won't know what they just gave away. Which is why Cusco is always behind. Pacha is always a step ahead. The truth is, intelligent people, we're creative. We're successful as entrepreneurs because we're strategic in a fun way. We also know how to work with our eustress, which is where our body won't have distress in it. We contribute just as much as anybody else does, but the difference is those one focused, enamored with themselves, they're disconnected from pure consciousness and pure energy. So they don't have an alignment with their energy body, mental, physical, emotional. They don't have a heart body or valley body. So they're going to be clear as the shame, blame, fault, revenge people who are all in a very specific frequency, but also they're speaking against everything that is spirituality and mindfulness, all of it. They even play on that with their words. And so, long story short, though, we won't be able to help all people, because the people who decide that ancient textbooks and interpreting them is the right way are the ones who, I'm going to say, they're not of blind faith. Because if they were, they'd know God always wins, creatorship, Akash, universe, basically that we're small specks. And you will know that here, not here. It's here that you know there's no threat. If you want to talk to me about spirituality, I know, because also the story is the fallen angel is fallen for a reason, which means he's defeated automatically. He's not that bad or good, and actually when you meet smart people, they inform you of why in moments of chaos. I was watching an article, a video. This is a lady who on YouTube, let me see if I can find, just today I watched it, and she explains why people are separating even more so. I mean, they've been doing it for the past years already. I already had an awareness of this. I just didn't talk, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but the part about how she explains it, I'm a political science major, so it was fascinating from that perspective as she's a journalist. The one mistake to resist post-election, and she's talking about the two-tribe myth, and she goes on to talk about, this is big think, you can go watch it if you want, about this evil and good thing. So long story short, you bring to me God, I know that evil doesn't win. That's why when somebody is reading, for example, any of ancient textbooks and they're talking about it as irrefutable facts, I'm like, okay, you don't know what year it is. You don't know that Holy Spirit energy, God in general, keep moving with the times. You're using that, what, Adam and Eve apple, the creation, what are you using? You're using something that makes me think of those people who don't bring their kids to get help in hospitals. I'm not in favor of ignorance. I actually think, wow, you really think that you denying sciences and technology is faith? No, you're like Denzel Washington says, you're not defending what's right. You're just defending who you like, what you think is true, what you like. So here's where with polyamory, people who don't like us because they think we're disgusting, which personally, I mean, I haven't met that one yet. But even if I did, anyone who would think of me as disgusting, I will, like I just did now, laugh at, because that tells me everything about you. The fact that you have the capacity to feel disgust towards a human being in a specific way, of casting a stone on my character, when you haven't seen any of what I've been, you don't know my book, and you will justify your emotional 14-month-old because it decided that you know how love truly is, and that you're going to feel. So number one, our basic emotions, humanly speaking, anger, sadness, fear, disgust, surprise, happiness, they're there to survive, for survival mode, number one. And so all those added thoughts to them have been added in time. I am, again, a political science major, and I also have a master's in international relations and diplomacy, but above all, I like to learn. For the inner growth mindset, I did a lot of studying to build the first part of the book and the courses with sociology, psychology, and existentialism. And one of my most favorite books is The Societal Construct, which told me everything about society and everything that's constructed, which to a mind that's independent, like everything's bullshit. I came away from that book saying, what the fuck? So anything I speak of can change from today to tomorrow. Okay then, so basically, besides people not really having any meaning, if you speak to me words of your own belief system and you don't even know who you are, why would I even bother taking you seriously? Then now with attachment trauma information, for example, I mean, I'm not gonna take anyone who has shame seriously. Good boy, did you do a good job? Good girl. I'm just thinking about that. You don't bring God into the mix. I'm automatically, my brain is uninterested in a blind ego and a blind human being, because I'm just dealing with a child part. I'm beginning even to perceive it as I interact, because we are all a part of the relational field. But again, as a person who is mindfully aware and has been, plus the mysticism component, and I have my oversoul, so my entire oversoul between twin flames and soulmates, but not just people that are part of my intimate. There's a lot of extended intimate, if you will, but we are part of the entirety of Akash. And so once you're open, if you're open to it, you're going to know when it's happening, like I did. And life's too short to spend it with any insecure people, because really their unhealthy, self-soothing, negative mannerisms are just beyond bejesus of uninteresting, not to mention egoic. So yeah, self-regulating, healthy, mindfulness people are bountiful, and we're always wary and aware of those who have narratives instead of feelings, because they got a story for everything. And it is too short to spend life with people who are push-pull-shame dynamics of unhealthy, dysregulated life and narratives. Not to mention that they don't really ever get much done, though they love to use quotes and things in certain ways. Here's one. A man's character never changes radically from youth to old age. What happens is that circumstances bring out characteristics which have not been obvious to the superficial observer. Hesketh Pearson. And then, as Michael Jordan points out, some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, and others make it happen. When you have a 3-year-old that has a shame button and you don't go heal it, and you got a 1-year-old, or basically when you got a 16-year-old who's got a shame button, your character is not going to really amount to much, because you're disconnected from pure consciousness and pure energy. You're not going to be exuberant. You're not going to get anywhere near being in your ventral vagal state. And I'm going to hear every single one of those ignorant stereotypes, judgments, casting of stones, and I'm not going to look highly at you. I'm going to know that you're locked in a time, and you're a copycat, and you're following a bunch of Peter Pans, and I won't be able to lose respect for a person, because this is the part of where, as I was raised with being humble from God and Maria, some people can, and some people can't. Thank you, Michael Jordan. Yes. So some people choose. Robert Sapolsky, come on in. Determined free will. Some people choose to take that you have no free will and allow their shame stuff to keep leading them away. Some people choose to learn shit and, for example, learn this, like the fact that there's effective realism. Powerful emotions feel like irrefutable facts. Kristen Lindquist, and to not allow yourself to be a 14-month-old or 1-year-old, basically, who leads with an in and out group, who can think that it's okay to feel disgusted and speak to somebody in a way that you are right to say to somebody else in an emotion of disgust what they can be or can't be. This is exactly why mindfulness practices are going to be applied for real in the 5D frequency way only by people who want to be their true self, and then who know with integrity how it involves flaws, imperfections, and it involves also standing up like this, which I have a very easy time doing as an inner child adult. You know why? Because I have no shame. It's because I got raised by a mom. She allowed me to be a whole 3-year-old heart, so I don't have shame with any of the emotions. The only one emotion she worked to support me with is because it's important for me to know how to handle fear. So I know that part, and I have a twin, so if I need to use determined, I can use all of it in the absence of my relationship with God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, even though I will say that I thank my relationship and where I come from, and this lifetime is definitely one of my most favorite ones. So when I came across Sadhguru, I just knew what time it was and where we're at, and with his yoga. It's great to have your yoga, Sadhguru. I didn't need any of it, but I love having all of it, and also bringing all of it together, spirituality, spiritual sciences. But my point is that my body, and I did this personality test with Dr. Daniel Siegel, it actually supports, like lovely Sadhguru shares, I love this man. I swear he has such wisdom. The life within you is not there to serve your body, mind, or emotion. The body, mind, or emotion are there to serve the life that you are. And you see, when you understand how the attachment category works, and then your personality can develop based on specific types of personality traits, what I uncovered with what I did, my test, was that my body is exactly how I can say to you, I see me, I soothe me, I safe and secure, and say, yeah, I don't change. There's a door if you like it. Oh, you can keep looking disgusted. I don't feel like, oh my God, you broke my heart. Now let me die inside, because my authentic need is air, water, food. You're not. Oh, and our ancestors are the only ones who needed each other, because they get cut out of the herd and into the nature. They would go into the unknown, I'm not in there anymore, so I don't need to have that. My body's smart enough, and so is my brain, to actually not be in an ancient way of thinking, reacting, feeling, all of it. The stupid people are the ones who I get to, again, share and have fun with. So they're stupid and they are irritating at times because their shame, blame, fault, revenge, little spikiness comes through, and also because, you know, they are very blue, and then they want to, well, they hurt other people, is what I'm going to say. They hurt people's feelings and they think it's okay to shame someone else based on what they think that person should be. In the meantime, I'm thinking, wow, you're awful because you don't even know what you're perpetuating from your entire body, which is unkindness that is healable, and you want other people to be just as unkind and assholeish as you. Wow, and you don't have the capacity to notice this. That's not amazing at all, blind ego. But I will notice the fancy human beings, distorted and not distorted, that you get to go and hang out with and do shit with, you know. So again, the fancy suits, personas, patterns, very clear to those of us who do notice, and there's a space for them. It is very challenging for people to heal from that trauma stuff. So if they don't take it seriously, they need a group, because we are heard. And so that's why also, again, with God is always leave it alone. You already know there's a balance. It's being fine. It's maintaining itself. Nobody's threatened. Don't you worry. Don't you worry about a thing. So long story short, we'll be back with more, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And again, let's learn to love and learn to live and learn to laugh and leave alone the shame people. They won't want to be around us. The unhealthy, self-soothing people, they tend to choose to self-select out because they don't want to regulate in their nervous system always in the way of happiness. It makes them to want to throw up. They don't want to love to live and love to dance and love to laugh and love to love. Okay, we'll be back with more. Have a good one.